User notes for section 10.2. Okay, 10.2, page 572, 1 to 33 odd. So we're doing inverse functions today. Up to 33, so I think you can see 33 there. See 10 point, that was 10.3, so we want 10.2. Turn back a page. Here are 10.2. See some of that. And then we have some graphs here. So 19, 21, 23. And I think that's all we have to do. Okay, we have to go to 33. Point two, we're doing something called inverse functions. Sometimes you can find that switch around x and y. Now try to solve again for y. So add 1, x plus 1 equals dy, divide by 3. Y is equal to f inverse of x is x plus 1 over 3, or 1/3 x plus 1/3. Number 3, f of x equals x cubed. Find the inverse function. Write it as y equals x cubed. Switch around x and y, x equals y cubed. How do you get rid of 3? Do the cube root of both sides. So y equals f inverse of x is the cube root of x, would be considered the inverse function in this particular case. Number 5, f of x equals x minus 3 over x minus 1. So call this y. Y equals x minus 3 over x minus 1. Switch around x and y. So every x becomes a y, every y becomes an x. So it looks like this. X equals y minus 3 over y minus 1. Multiply both sides by y minus 1. Xy minus x equals y minus 3. Okay, so get all the y's on the same side. So I'll get all the y's on the left side. Subtract y on both sides. Add x to both sides. So xy minus y equals x minus 3. That's a minus sign there. Factor out the y. And divide by x minus 1. So the inverse function, f inverse of x, is x minus 3 over x minus 1. Problem's finished, but you may notice this was the same as the original function. So it is possible for a function to be its own inverse, is what we're saying. 11, f of x equals 2/3 x minus 3. Call this y. Y equals blah, blah, blah. Switch around x and y. X equals 2/3 y minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. X plus 3 equals 2/3 y. How do you get rid of 2/3? Multiply by 3 over 2. So y equals f inverse of x. 3/2 times x plus 3. Okay, 13. F of x equals x cubed minus 4. Y equals x cubed minus 4. Switch around x and y. X equals y cubed minus 4. Solve for y. Add 4 to both sides. X plus 4 equals y cubed. Take the cube root. So y equals f inverse of x is cube root of x plus 4. 15, f of x equals 4x minus 3 over 2x plus 1. Call it y. switch around x and y. So this y becomes an x. These two x's become y. Okay. Solve for y. Get rid of the fraction, multiply both sides by 2y plus 1. So the right side just is 4y minus 3. Distribute here, 2xy plus x. Okay, now let's get all the y's on the right side and non-y's on the left. So I add 3 to both sides, subtract 2xy. So x plus 3 equals 4y minus 2xy. Factor out the y parentheses 4 minus 2x. Divide both sides by 4 minus 2x. So y equals f inverse of x equals x plus 3 over 4 minus 2x. And then finally, some problems at the end where they want you to graph a function and its inverse. Sketch the graph of the relation and its inverse and write the equation of the inverse. Okay, so how do you do that? So number 19, y equals 2x minus 1. We know what that looks like. Slope of 2, y-intercept of -1. So I put a dot on -1 over 2 up 1. So the original function f is in green. Okay. So to find the inverse, I switch around x and y. So x equals 2y minus 1. Solve for y. Add 1. X plus 1 equals 2y. Divide by 2. F inverse is x plus 1 over 2. How do you graph it? Well, maybe the easiest way to graph it is just find some points and switch around the x and y. So this is 0, -1. The inverse function would be -1, 0. This is 1, 1. Switch around 1, 1. You still have 1, 1. Connect those points. And in blue, you have f inverse. Okay. Okay, 25, y equals 3 to the x. Switch it around, x equals 3 to the y. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's make a table. I went from -2 to 2. 0 gives me 1. 1 gives me 3. 2, 3 squared is 9. -1. 3 to the -1 is 1/3. 3 to the -2 is 1/9. Plot those points. It looks something like this. 0, 1, 1, 3, 2, 9. And -1, 1/3 is not very high. And -2, 1/9. It's like that. Okay. Now, to find the inverse, you just switch around x and y. So -2 and 1/9 becomes 1/9 -2. -1, 1/3 becomes 1/3 -1. 0, 1 becomes 1, 0. 1, 3 becomes 3, 1. 2, 9 becomes 9, 2. So you just switch around the x and the y, and it looks like this. That looks like a function. Okay. X equals 3 to the y. How do you solve for y? Well, the answer is you don't. You make up a function. The invented function is called the logarithm function. That'll lead us to the next section. But we would say y is equal to log base 3 of x. So it's a function. It looks like it passes the vertical line test. X equals 3 to the y. How do you write it in terms of y? We make up a function called the log function. Y equals log base 3 of x. And that'll be the main topic of section 10.3, which we'll get to next time. But this was section 10.2.